The green transition is one of this forum's defining themes. From renewable energy capacity to EV supply chains, China's pace of green transition has surprised many observers. Well, in the forum's conversation with global political and business leaders, what stands out to you about China's green transition at scale?
I think what is fascinating to see here is the fact that this transition that you highlighted in terms of the green transition, it has not been just a 1 year or 2 year process. Earlier we were chatting about the 15th five-year plan. When I was preparing for this, we looked at it. It was a very clear direction in the 13th five-year plan of how China would kind of position itself when it comes to solar, when it comes to EVs, and some of these aspects of it. So what's extremely important is that the aspect of certainty that kind of the plan provided gave a lot of confidence to I think a lot of the leaders who are there. What is interesting now is the fact that you would have seen recently we had a report called on the Energy Transition Index, which we release for the purpose of Summer Davos. And there what we are noticing is that while the transition is not revising, what is happening is it's fragmenting. And some of these challenges China has very critical answers to. Solar, I think it came up in your question. The aspect of China's solar supply chain, if I may put it that way, was responsible for nearly the significant price drop that then allows emerging markets, countries in the global south to kind of adopt it further.
This year marks 2 decades of deep engagement between the World Economic Forum and China, and the Summer Davos is returning to Dalian for the 9th time. From your perspective, how has China's role in the global agenda fundamentally transformed over the past 20 years?
No, it's an extremely historic year for us to be here in Dalian. As you said, it's the 20th year anniversary of our presence in China. But I think what it builds on is actually a far more longer tradition. If you recall and go through the history books, the first Chinese delegation to the World Economic Forum was back in 1978. And I think what is fascinating from that end is that each year the interest that we see from a number of our close to 950 partners, policymakers from across the world to engage in the Summer Davos to really understand the Chinese economy has continued to grow.
Many experts believe decoupling and de-risking are dominating the major conversations worldwide. Meanwhile, the Global South is demanding greater representation. How does the World Economic Forum as a multi-stakeholder platform make its agenda-setting choices and makes those conversations possible?
I think what's very important in this context is to step back and look at the global environment we are operating in. This has to be the most complex geoeconomic environment that the world has seen. And this was even before what we had witnessed in terms of rise in violence in the Middle East, the escalation of oil prices. Our job as the International Organization for Public-Private Cooperation at the World Economic Forum is to ensure that dialogue happens between policymakers, between business leaders, amongst each other as well, so that even in these situations and even in these tough times, they are able to better understand each other. And I think across the next 3 days here, with over 200 sessions, we hope through the proceedings, leaders will be able to, both from the emerging markets as well as more advanced economies, have these conversations and better navigate the situation that we are facing.